Did you seriously just serve him? This isn't a food bank for strays. The bistro went dead silent. At table 9, a child asked too loudly, "Mommy, why's that lady yelling?" You think because you're black and polite, you can just do whatever you want? Miranda's heels clacked against the tile like a warning siren. That man looks homeless. And you, Eva, you're not paid to play social worker. You're here to serve. She dragged out that last word like it was dirty. Eva stood near the corner booth, still holding a used napkin she'd just picked up. Her apron was simple, her hair pulled back tight, her body still, silent, calm, but her eyes? Her eyes followed. The man who had quietly sat back down, his blazer now unbuttoned, revealing a shirt with subtle gold threading, the kind only one man wore. "That's not your table," Miranda barked again. "And if you're that desperate for attention, clock out and find a job in a soup kitchen." "Better yet," she sneered, "maybe you belong in one." Gasps rolled through the room. If you believe no one deserves to be humiliated for showing kindness, type respect in the comments. Eva didn't argue, didn't flinch, just calmly set the napkin on the table, turned to the service counter, and unzipped a small black pouch. She pulled out 3 things: a signed thank you note, a gold-foiled letterhead, and a keycard. The card gleamed under the overhead. Lights like a signal flare. Miranda's fake smirk began to falter. What is that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Eva held it up, crystal clear. The logo read, "Belro Holdings." "I was asked to treat every guest with dignity," Eva said softly, "no matter their clothes or skin. That's what it said in your employee handbook, right?" The entire restaurant froze again, this time not in shock, but in realization. The man in the booth stood. He removed his jacket, turned around slowly. His shirt bore a name embroidered in gold: Thomas Belro. A woman screamed. A server dropped her tray. The chef peeked out from the kitchen. Miranda backed up like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't know," she stammered. "That's not," Eva cut her off with a glance, calm, deadly. "I'm Eva Monroe," she said. "And starting tomorrow I've been assigned as interim manager. By him." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. The silence spoke for her. And it was deafening. She applied to the bistro under a different name. Eva Monroe. Not Eva Santiago, co-owner of Beanhouse & Co., or former operations lead at Midlane Catering. Just Eva, a woman trying to keep the lights on. Miranda hadn't asked many questions. Just saw a quiet woman, mid-30s, working hard and saying little. Perfect for bussing tables. Eva never corrected her. "You? A manager?" Miranda's laugh echoed through the break room. "Please, you couldn't even refill a wine rack without asking me." Eva said nothing. She stood near the lockers, pulling her apron off slowly. Her name tag now read, Eva Monroe. "Interim manager." "Don't get used to that," Miranda smirked. "You're just a temporary pity project. When the board finds out who you really are," Eva turned, "you mean the woman who ran Midlane Catering for 5 years? Or the one who co-owned Beanhouse Cafe before stepping down to care for her dying brother?" Miranda's mouth opened, then closed. "Didn't think you read resumes," Eva added calmly. "Probably too busy writing people up for smiling wrong." The silence cracked like glass. Louise, the head chef, stood frozen near the coffee machine. A server peeked in. No one moved. Miranda stormed out. Eva entered the office she never thought she'd sit in. One desk, one window, one letter waiting on. The chair. From Thomas Belro himself. "I saw how you handled last night. That was leadership. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't flex authority. You just did what was right." At the bottom, one line underlined in red. "Miranda doesn't need cleaning up. She needs replacing." Eva folded the letter, exhaled. Once Dot then opened her phone. Her brother's last message blinked. You were built for more than survival. Let them see it. Diego. She tucked the phone away. By 7:58 a.m., Eva was on the floor. No apron. Just soft gray slacks, a clean blouse, and confidence. Luis approached her with a quiet nod. You good? Let's find out, she said. The espresso machine hissed behind them. The dining room buzzed back to life, but there were whispers. Rumors, side eyes. She's just a server. No way she lasts through the gala. Miranda built this place. At 9:30, the first test arrived. Table 9's asking for Miranda again, whispered Nora, the youngest waitress. They said she always comps their wine. Eva nodded once. I'll handle it. Mr. Lawson barely looked up. Where's Miranda? Administrative leave. HMPH. We'll take the Malbec. On the house, as always. Eva paused. We don't comp alcohol anymore unless it's a special occasion. Excuse me? Would you like to wait for the gala? Or shall I bring the wine? Mr. Lawson's eyes narrowed. You'll regret this. I'm on the board. Then you already know our new policies. Eva didn't flinch. Should I bring the bottle? He waved her off, red-faced. Back in the kitchen, Luis smiled behind the counter. You didn't blink. Eva shrugged. Let them test me, he nodded. Some of them are, but the right ones are watching. That night, after close, Eva found a folded napkin on table 5. Inside, a handwritten note in block letters. Thank you for not backing down. Nora. Next to it, a single $5 bill. Eva sat. Just for a second, because it wasn't about the money. It was the fold, a perfect triangle. Diego used to do that. In lunchboxes. On birthdays, every time he wanted to say, keep going. Someone had noticed. Someone had picked a side. Eva turned. Paused. Walked. Overcome, unreadable. I'm sorry the new environment feels different, she said, her tone steady. But I'd rather run a place where dignity is the default, not the exception. The whole section froze. The shouting couple didn't say another word. You've been reported for mismanaging the Saturday brunch shift. The HR rep on speakerphone didn't sound hostile, just bored. Like she was reading from a list. Like this was routine. Eva sat in the back office, alone. The sound of the espresso machine humming faintly beyond the closed door. Her fingers rested calmly on the desk beside a neatly organized clipboard. I understand, she said quietly. May I see the details of the complaint? It's confidential, the voice replied. But corporate policy requires a formal, written warning. We're documenting it as your first. Click. That was it. No room for context. No space for truth. She'd expected Miranda to fight. But this was subtler. Miranda was still pulling levers from the shadows, testing how far her legacy could reach. By noon, the restaurant buzzed with customers. Light poured through the arched windows. Servers moved fast. Orders flew. Eva didn't break stride. She organized a backup system for drink orders. Fixed the printer jam herself. Jumped in when the dishwasher stalled. Then, during a lull, she asked the team to gather for a quick floor meeting. They huddled near the bar servers, bussers, hosts. Nervous energy. Confusion. Some of you are wondering why I'm still here, she began. Her voice wasn't raised, but every head turned. Why a temporary title hasn't vanished, she paused. Let the silence pull their attention in tighter. Hi. Got my first official complaint this morning. Probably not the last. The room tensed. But while others send emails, she said, I'll be fixing the menu system, clearing your double bookings, and making sure no one works through there. Break again. She looked at each of them, slowly. Actions will outlast opinions. Every time. She turned and walked away. That night, Eva stayed late again. She recoded the reservation app so the wait list auto-balanced between sections. She printed individualized schedules for the next 2 weeks. She added 3 employee of the week slots on the corkboard and left a sticky note. You deserve to be seen. Then she quietly slipped a handwritten note into Luz's prep journal. Thank you for holding the kitchen down when others just watched. The next day, something unexpected happened. When the midday rush began, the floor ran smoother. Servers covered each other without drama. The espresso machine was already fixed. Nora, the youngest, stepped up to seat 3 tables solo. Louise handed Eva a plate of her favorite risotto and said, "Eat. I'll cover your tables for 10 minutes." Eva blinked. "That's not your job," Louise shrugged. "Neither was protecting. U.S., but you did it anyway." At 4:17 p.m., Eva received a second email from corporate. Subject line: Performance acknowledgement. Floor efficiency increase. Attached was a note from Thomas Barrow himself. Reports aren't proof. Numbers are. You just raised customer retention by 9% in 4 days. Keep going. But Miranda wasn't done. That same evening, an old friend of hers, Jules, the regional director, showed up unannounced. He didn't order anything. Just stood at the host stand, eyeing Eva like a hawk. Just visiting, he said, smiling too wide. I heard the place was under new guidance. Eva met his gaze, unblinking. Feel free to observe. We're not hiding anything. Jules nodded, still watching. Good, because if the gala fails next week, they won't blame the ghost of Miranda. They'll blame whoever's got the clipboard now. As he left, Eva noticed something scrawled in Miranda's old handwriting on the back of the employee corkboard. People don't follow nice rules. They follow strongly. Eva didn't erase it. She just pinned a new message underneath. The strongest people don't need to yell. By Friday night, something strange had started happening. Customers were smiling more. Servers weren't rushing between orders, yelling across the kitchen, or hiding behind the drink machine during slow hours. Nora even played soft jazz through the Bluetooth speaker, something Miranda had strictly forbidden. And tips? Tips had doubled. Eva didn't post about it. She didn't announce her wins. But they were stacking quietly, steadily, like layers of stone building something permanent. When she arrived that morning, there were already fresh flowers on the counter. No, just lavender, white tulips, and a single bright sunflower in the middle. The staff didn't say a word about it, but when Eva walked in, they all turned just slightly, just enough to say they noticed. In the back she met with Louise and the pastry chef, Kara. The topic? The upcoming gala, Belro Holdings' annual investor dinner, now scheduled at their location. They want something elegant, local sourced, and light, Kara said, tapping her tablet. I'm thinking rosemary citrus tarts. Maybe a roasted plum glaze for the savory dish. Louise nodded. I'll prep the duck. We'll do a soft run tonight. Eva approved the plan and quietly added, let's loop in Nora. She's ready for more. Kara raised an eyebrow. The kid? She's fast. She listens. And she doesn't carry Miranda's fear. By 6:30 p.m., the soft run service for the gala menu was in motion. Plates gleamed. Glasses sparkled. Eva moved like a conductor, not a boss, not a queen, but someone who knew every note of the performance. She refilled water, checked plating, wiped crumbs from a corner booth before anyone noticed. A regular customer, a lawyer named Mr. Fincher, paused on his way out. You run this place? He asked, half curious, half testing. Eva smiled. Only as long as they let me. He nodded. Food's better. Staff's calmer. Feels like a different place. Then he dropped $100 tip and left without waiting for thanks. In the office, She logged receipts, updated supply orders, and read every shift report. Then she found it, a comment written by Nora. For the first time, I'm not scared to ask questions. I'm proud to wear the uniform now. Ava stared at it for a long moment, then pressed print. She pinned it next to the staff schedule, right underneath Miranda's old framed quote, "Don't bring problems, bring solutions." Ava didn't remove it. She just added a sticky note below. People aren't problems. But victories come with weight. Because at 8:01 p.m., Miranda walked in, wearing sunglasses, holding a coffee. Not speaking to anyone. She slid into a corner booth, like she still owned it, crossed her legs, pulled out her phone, and just watched. Nora noticed first. Her hands trembled at the drink station. Eva stepped in. "I've got this," she whispered. She approached the booth. Miranda didn't look up. "You're welcome to order," Ava said softly. "But I'll ask that you not disrupt service," Miranda smirked. "Just seeing what you've done with the place. Looks softer, more human," Eva corrected. That was the goal. Miranda finally looked up. Her eyes were sharp. "This isn't over." Ava nodded slowly. "I know. That's why I'm documenting everything." That night, before locking up, Ava changed the name tags of the hosts from plastic to gold-etched ones. It wasn't required. No one asked. But when Nora saw hers the next morning, she nearly teared up. "You didn't have to." "I did," Eva interrupted gently. "You earned it." And just like that, the quiet power spread. The gala sparkled like a magazine cover. Crystal glasses, brass candle holders, linen tablecloths ironed so sharply they looked painted. Ava stood near the entrance, clipboard in hand, scanning the guest list as executives from Belro Holdings trickled in. Cameras flashed, smiles bloomed. Everything gleamed, except her stomach. She hadn't slept much the night before. Something told her tonight wasn't just a dinner. It was a test. And then she saw her. Miranda. Wearing black silk, pearls, and a smug smile. Worse, she wasn't alone. Jules, regional director, longtime friend of Miranda, walked beside her like backup muscle in a tailored suit. Their presence was no accident. Inside, waitstaff moved with trained elegance. Nora was posted at wine service. Louise managed plating. Ava floated everywhere, adjusting lights, calming nerves, catching mistakes before they happened. At exactly 7:45 p.m., Thomas Belro arrived. No fanfare, no entourage, just a navy suit and that same unreadable calm. He gave Eva a small nod and took a seat. The first 45 minutes passed smoothly. Appetizers rolled out. Conversation flowed. Soft piano curled through the air like perfume. Then Miranda stood. "Before dessert," she said, raising her glass, "I'd like to say a few words." Ava didn't stop her. She let her speak. This restaurant was once known for precision, for elegance, for discipline. And while there's been change recently, she smiled thinly, some of us are wondering if change always means improvement. A few executives exchanged glances. "I built this place from the floor up," Miranda continued. "I enforced standards. Trained half the staff you see here tonight. I don't say this for credit. I say it because leadership matters." Her eyes slid toward Eva. "And lately, I've seen more smiles than service." The room quieted. Eyes turned out all at once. It was Ava's move. She didn't flinch, didn't blink. She walked to the center of the floor, calmly. No mic, no podium. Just presence. And she began. "When I started here, I was a server. Not even. I bussed tables. And every day, I watched the staff hide from fear instead of rise in pride." A pause. "Since Miranda's departure, we've increased weekend profits by 17%, doubled customer retention, and," she turned to Thomas, "we've Received 4 unsolicited investor compliments this evening alone. She glanced at Nora, who stood frozen behind the wine cart. But numbers aren't the whole story. Ava stepped forward. I don't lead by yelling. I lead by listening. And when I arrived tonight, a hostess pulled me aside shaking because she thought Miranda might fire her again just for existing. Miranda's face twitched. Eva turned to the crowd. I'd like to ask everyone here to raise a hand if they've ever witnessed a staff member mistreated publicly. A few guests hesitated, then slowly. Hands went up. 6, then 10, then half the room. Jules looked uncomfortable. Thomas leaned forward, eyes sharp. Miranda's glass trembled in her hand. Ava's voice didn't waver. I don't want to undo what was built here, she said. I want to rebuild what was missing. Dignity. Silence. The kind that bends time. Then clink. Thomas set his fork down. Thank you, Ms. Monroe, he said, rising. That'll be the last unscheduled speech for the evening. He turned to Miranda. I think we've heard enough. Miranda sat down slowly, but she didn't touch her dessert. After the gala, Ava stood in the alley behind the restaurant, her heels kicked off. The cool air biting at her arms. The door creaked. Louise stepped out. Thought you'd be in there celebrating. Ava exhaled. Too loud in there. I like hearing myself think. He smiled. You're doing more than thinking. He handed her a folded napkin. Inside, the word lead underlined twice. Eva didn't expect the email. Subject: Leadership Spotlight. Meet Eva Monroe. It came from the Belro Holdings marketing team. Attached were 2 photos, one of her calmly addressing the gala crowd, the other of her reviewing prep with Louise behind the kitchen line. They wanted to feature her in the upcoming newsletter. She stared at it for a long time. Not because she was hesitant, she wasn't, but because this was the first time someone had asked to see her instead of use her. By noon that day, something else happened. A blogger posted a short reel from the gala the moment Eva asked the room to raise their hands. It caught fire, quietly at first. Then suddenly, tens of thousands of views. Comments flooded in. This woman needs to run the company. Protect Eva Monroe at all costs. Leadership without ego. I'm inspired. Ava didn't respond to any of it. She just closed the app, tied her apron, and returned to floor service. One foot in front of the other. Just like always. At the restaurant, the air had changed. Not louder. Not flashier. Just real. Louise now called her boss with a smirk, but no sarcasm. Nora began mentoring new hires, repeating phrases she'd heard Eva say. We lead with calm, not noise. Kara designed a new dessert and named it the Monroe. Even customers noticed. You've turned this place around, one regular said. It feels like it cares now. Ava smiled politely, then disappeared into the back, because the attention still made her uncomfortable. But not everyone was cheering. Miranda hadn't returned. But her shadow still lingered in the form of Jules, the regional director. At the end of the week, he requested a sit-down. Privately. In the office. He folded his arms. You're gaining a lot of traction. Ava remained still. He continued, some of us at the top are wondering if this is sustainable. You've created expectation, and sometimes that's more dangerous than failure. Ava met his gaze without blinking. If expectation is dangerous, maybe the system was broken before I ever got here. Silence. Then Jules gave a cold smile. Watch yourself. Power makes you visible. Visibility makes you a target. Later that night, Eva stayed long after. She sat alone at table 4, sipping cold chamomile tea, reviewing supply lists. A shadow passed her peripheral vision. It was Nora. She hesitated, then approached holding something behind her back, close. Your eyes, she whispered. Eva raised an eyebrow but obeyed. When she opened them, Nora had placed a small framed photo on the table. It was the staff, all of them crowded in the kitchen, laughing, smiling. In the corner, someone had scribbled in bold black ink, "Because of you." Ava's throat caught. No big speech, just the truth. And for the first time, she didn't feel like a temporary solution. She felt like a cornerstone. The Belro Bistro Handbook had never changed. Until now. A new email arrived from corporate. Subject: Policy Update. Respect First Culture Initiative. Attachment. Drafted by E. Monroe. Reviewed by T. Belroeva. Blink. The new policy? A complete overhaul of customer interaction standards. It emphasized empathy, staff dignity, and zero tolerance for public shaming. It even included examples taken directly from her leadership style, the moment she'd ask guests to raise their hands at the gala, now listed under Leadership Best Practices, Handling Historical Harm. By the following week, a ripple began. Other store managers across the Belro chain started emailing her directly. Loved your floor speech. Mind if I borrow your training schedule? Your employee spotlight idea? Genius. Stealing it. You're rewriting the game. Thank you. Eva didn't know half their names. But word was spreading fast. One morning, a woman showed up at the bistro. Mid-30s. Dark red lipstick. Short platinum bob. Can I speak to Eva Monroe? Eva stepped out from behind the host's stand. The woman's eyes softened. You don't remember me. That's okay. She pulled out her phone and tapped open an old photo. 3 women. One of them, Eva, wearing a server apron from 4 years ago. 2 others beside her, laughing. I'm Jessica, the woman said. You taught me how to carry 5 plates without breaking a sweat. Eva blinked. Jessica from Uptown Cafe? Jessica nodded. When you left, the place fell apart. I swore I'd never work food again. But when I saw your name in the newsletter, I came back. Eva smiled, stunned. You want a job? I want to work where I'm not invisible. Eva handed her a schedule on the spot. Later that day, Louise stopped her in the hallway. We just got a call from corporate, he said. They want to rename the mentorship program after you. Eva stared. What? The Eva Monroe Leadership Track, Louise said, smirking. They asked if you'd be willing to write the first module. The irony? She still made her own coffee. Still bussed tables when short-staffed. Still refused to sit in the back office more than 10 minutes at a time. But her presence had become something else now. Symbolic. That evening, after close, Nora gathered the staff for something unexpected. She stood on a milk crate, holding a notepad. Eva doesn't like speeches, she said, so I'll make it quick. She cleared her throat. When I started here, I was terrified. Of being yelled at, of messing up, of not being ... enough. She turned to Eva. But you never raised your voice. And somehow, that taught me more than any manager I've ever had. A few heads nodded. Louise clapped first. Then everyone joined in. The applause wasn't loud. It was respectful. But Eva felt it in her bones. Outside, the streetlights buzzed faintly over a soft drizzle. Eva stood beneath the awning, watching people pass by. A couple laughed under a shared umbrella. A cyclist sped past. Rain streaking behind him like memory. Kara stepped up beside her. You're not just changing this place, she said. You're changing the standard. Eva didn't respond at first. She just watched the water bead along the edge. Then, she said softly, I'm not trying to change the world. Just prove that kindness can lead. Kara smiled. Sometimes proving it is enough to start a fire. The headline hit just after dawn. Bistro manager lied about background. Former cafe co-owner hiding behind alias. Eva stared at the screen, still half dressed for her shift. The article was everywhere: Instagram reposts, staff group chats, even tagged under Belro's official account. Photos from her old business license. A quote from a former business partner accusing her of walking away from responsibilities. There was no truth in it, but it didn't matter. It had Miranda's fingerprints all over it. By the time Eva arrived at the restaurant, the energy had changed. Tight smiles, avoided eye contact, nervous whispers in corners. A single copy of the article was printed and taped to the inside of the break room door. Someone had circled her photo in red marker. She stared at it in silence for a long time, then calmly pulled it down. At 11:02 a.m., her phone rang. Corporate. A different HR rep this time. Formal. Cold. We're placing you on temporary review while we evaluate the recent allegations. This is standard protocol. Please avoid public-facing leadership duties until further notice. Translation. Step down. Quietly. Until we decide if you're worth protecting. Ava's chest tightened. She nodded. Thanked them. Hung up. And for the first time in months, she sat alone in the supply closet and wept. But she didn't leave. Instead, she rolled up her sleeves and worked the dishwasher. Didn't speak much. Didn't explain. Just stayed. That night, as she swept the floor after close, a voice startled her. You're not just going to let them do this, are you? Nora, standing there, shaking, but fierce. I saw them sharing that article, acting like they didn't benefit from your leadership every day. Ava looked up, eyes red. I'm not perfect, she whispered. I never said you were, Nora. Shot back. But you're real, and you didn't lie. You survived. That's different. Ava blinked. Nora reached into her apron and pulled out something small. A thumb drive. I saved security footage. The night Miranda yelled at Mr. Belro. You want to talk about integrity? Let's start there. The next morning, Ava submitted the footage to corporate. She attached 3 testimonials from current staff. She included her official resume with her real name, her past business, and a timeline of how she got here. No apology. No defense. Just the truth. That evening, while working back of house, Louise approached her. You know what they did? He asked. Eva raised an eyebrow. They offered me your job. Her heart stopped. He chuckled. I told them to shove it. Ava blinked. You? What? You built this place, he said. We don't want a new manager. We want our manager. At 9:12 p.m., Eva stepped out onto the restaurant floor. No clipboard. No apron. Just her presence, and found the team waiting. Someone had drawn a sign above the bar. Ava Monroe, our choice. No branding. No logos. Just marker on cardboard. But it meant more than any corporate letter ever could. That night, alone in the office, her phone buzzed again. This time, a message from Thomas Belro himself. Corporate review cleared. Promotion stands. And so do you? Ava closed her eyes. Exhaled. And sat back in the chair. She had earned with every quiet battle. The ceremony wasn't her idea. It was Thomas Belro's. A formal ribbon cutting to announce the newly renovated Leadership Lounge Employee Mentorship Hub and company-wide initiative. The Eva Monroe Standard. The press came. So did Belro executives. So did Miranda, though she didn't stay long. But Eva? She stood off to the side for most of it, hands folded, wearing the same soft gray blouse she wore on her first day as manager. Louise whispered beside her. You look like you're about to coach a TED Talk, she smirked. Don't get used to it. Nora came bouncing over, now in a tailored host jacket with her name embroidered. They're calling you a national case study on quiet leadership. Ava raised an eyebrow. That's a real thing? Apparently, Nora laughed. You made it a thing. When the ribbon was finally cut, Thomas Belro took the mic. In every organization, There are moments when someone challenges the way things have always been done, he said, and reminds us that strength isn't about volume, it's about values. He turned, looked straight at Eva. Double quotes Ms. Monroe. You didn't just restore dignity to this space, you set a new standard for what leadership can look like when it's rooted in respect. Applause. Flashbulbs. Cameras. But Eva only nodded. Once. Then quietly stepped away from the spotlight. Later that evening, the restaurant was closed. But inside, music played. The lights were dimmed low, and every staff member past and present gathered around a shared meal, made by Louise and plated by Kara. No suits. No titles. Just people. Someone handed Eva a large brown envelope. She opened it. Inside, a framed photograph of the current team under the restaurant's new core values posted on the wall. Calm over chaos. Listen before you lead. Every apron matters. Below it was a plaque that read, "Inspired by the leadership of Eva Monroe." Louise raised his glass. Some of us used to think yelling made a good boss, he said. Now we know. It just makes noise. Laughter. Cling. Eva held her glass up, her voice low but clear. To the quiet ones, she said. The ones who stay late, take the blame, fix the mess, and keep showing up even when no one's looking. To the ones who lead with dignity. Outside, the city moved on like it always does, cars passing, buses groaning, people chasing the next thing. But inside that restaurant, something had shifted. The walls felt warmer. The floors didn't echo as harshly. The fear was gone. 3 weeks later, a smaller Belro location across the country began its own cultural reset, training new hires using Eva's mentorship videos. A larger one renamed their employee lounge the Monroe Room, and a framed napkin still sat quietly in the back. Office taped to the wall, the one that said, "Thank you for not backing down." Eva never asked for awards, never posted speeches. Never bragged. But her legacy didn't need volume. It lived in Nora's confidence. In Luce's trust. In every employee who now showed up to work knowing they mattered. She turned off the lights one last time that night, not because she was leaving, but because her work finally had a light of its own.